today, we're gonna do a classic. We're gonna model a banana. Have we done the banana before?
Yeah. Oh wait, no, I think we did an apple during.
I think we didn't have. Today we're
Yeah.
gonna do a banana. Because I was like, I want to go a little bit less ambitious today, given that we're starting with less time. Also, I'm not sure why that screen doesn't turn on, so you can connect to the Zoom if you want to see what I'm doing. Like to put it. But we're gonna cut a banana. It's actually the process to do it is very, very simple. So we'll do that. Maybe that's gonna take us about 30 minutes, more or less. And then with the time that remains, we'll work a little bit more with assemblies, and then we'll try to do engineering drawings finally off from that. So the banana here is like the key to CAD surface modeling. So yes, it's true that it would be great to have like Blender and have a lot more power. So I'm going to show you a couple of things where perhaps some of the SolidWorks stuff could be useful. So before we do the banana, let me show you something in here. You don't need to do this. You can just watch for this one. But let's go here to sketch, and I'll do a front plane. And I'm not even gonna bother defining this, but I'm just gonna draw a rectangle and I'll exit. Now you see that I already have the surfaces in here. I'm gonna click in here and I'll click on surfaces. But I just want to show you something that could be very useful to you guys is if you go here to surfaces, and then you go to this one that's called fill surface. So essentially I just gave it a polygon and I'm filling this polygon with a surface, right? So I have just a flat plane. Now this is very simple, but the power to perhaps get it to something like this, it's called freeform. Where for instance, you click in here and I click on this face and it creates like a mesh around it. And then I go here to, I was practicing this. I'm not the biggest fan because it's kind of tedious where you're clicking where it says control polygons, user defined, and I'm gonna click on add curves. I can say right that I want symmetry and you'll see what that means in a moment. And I can add these green curves that you're seeing in there. And then on the other direction, I can add a couple more curves like that. And I click on escape. And what this does is that if now I click on that curve and I drag that point like upwards, I can change a little bit like the surface, right? So say, I think there's a type of cereal, right? That it looks like a pillow, right? Have you guys ever ate that cereal before? Exactly. So say you wanted to make a CAD model of a Wheaties in there, we can find it. So the way to do that is kind of like this, honestly. I can bring these points upwards like this. So you have to have a lot of patience, right? Because this is the closest you'll ever get to kind of doing Play-Doh in SolidWorks. I can move the points a little bit, maybe that one upwards a little bit more. Okay, so I'm kind of satisfied with that. It could be a Wheaties, it could be a ravioli, depending on your imagination. We could make it into a ravioli. And say you're happy with that, you go here to save, right? And it looks symmetric because we did it like that in purpose. So there's actually a couple of things that I can do from here. One of them is if I go over to the top plane, which is where we started, I could go to features, mirror, and I can like here, bodies to mirror, I can click on that. And I can click on merge, let's see, and need surfaces. No, it's not gonna work. Okay, what I could do is maybe another surface from here. No, let me see if I can show that sketch again. There we go. I'm gonna go to fill the surface perfectly. So now it's this surface on top, like the ravioli, and then like the bottom in there. So then you can go over to a command that's called in here knit surfaces. And I can click on this one, I can click on that one, and I'll say merge entities and create a solid. So now out of your surfaces, you created a solid here. And then now, yes, I believe I can go to the front plane and I could do a mirror of this, bodies to mirror that. I'm not sure it's gonna, for some reason, it's not very happy doing this. Oh, that is not what we wanted. Maybe what I could do so that this is nice and even, I can go here, do a sketch. I'm gonna convert entities. Now, the problem about the freeform is that sometimes it creates, as you can see, some curves downwards that I don't want. So I'm gonna extrude, yes, in that direction like that. Select it, just no. Right, let's see. Oh, wow. This is like weird. Anyway, the point is that you can play around with this and make some interesting things. Usually, I don't even know how to use it that well, but you can play around. Another strategy, the last one I'll show, is that I'm gonna delete that. Close. I don't want that either. So you are happy with how this looks like, right? I'm gonna let me get rid of that. You could go to here, insert features, and no, insert boss thicken, and I can click in this, and it's gonna give it like some thickness to that surface. So I can say, all right, give it a surface of maybe like 2 millimeters. So now your ravioli actually has some volume just from that surface. I've used surfaces. Hopefully, I'll be posting the Epcot Sphere video soon, actually on probably on Thursday. So I use that a lot to make the Epcot Sphere, a lot of surfaces. So this is it's just to show you like something fun, but you don't have to do this. So are we ready for the banana? Okay, so we start with that. Perfect. So for this, let's go to Chrome right here and find a picture. I don't care which one. I'm gonna use this one. So I'll go here to save image. I'll go over to maybe downloads. I'll call that banana. I'll click on save. And now I'm gonna open a new, actually I can just get rid of all of this stuff. Perfectly. And go over to here, sketch, choose whichever plane you want, and then go to tools, sketch tools, sketch picture. And once you do that, I'm gonna go over to downloads, banana, and I'm gonna bring the picture of the banana right here. Perfect. And don't worry about the scale and whatnot. So now the strategy is, and you can do it when I go or whatnot, were you guys able to insert the picture? I did, okay. So the overall strategy, and I'll do it and then I walk around, is to use the spline tool to trace the overall shape of the banana. So we're gonna start by doing that. I'll go to spline, and I'm gonna trace it like that. So we're gonna make a wireframe out of this. You don't need to do a continuous spline. You can break it up like I'm doing right now. So this is definitely a very technical way of cutting a banana. There we go. So we're gonna leave those curves as they are. And then I'm gonna trace one spline that's gonna go kind of roughly through the middle of this. It's gonna be like this. Perfectly. I'm gonna make sure that it looks roughly like that. Okay. So let's exit that sketch in there. And in fact, yes, we can leave it like this. You can see the lines. So go over to features, then click on reference geometry plane. And now we're clicking on this point and that line. So we're gonna create a bunch of planes. So planes are that point and that line. So this approach is called point and tangency. And there, so we're just doing cuts. There we go. Oh, I don't want that one. Let's do this one like that. Let's add. Oh, so you see that the planes follow the tangency of the banana. So you're essentially drawing different sections of this. Actually, for that one, when I go back to this line in here, when I draw a center line, it's gonna go like this. I want these two to be perpendicular, and I want this and that to be tangent. There we go. And there's a reason for that, because now when I draw the plane, I want this exactly. It's gonna be along those two lines, exactly like that, perfectly. Let me make that perpendicular. Perfect. So now the question is, and this I only learned recently, a banana has 5 sides, and that I didn't know because I don't like bananas, to be honest. I like apples, hence I don't eat them much. But that's important actually, because we'll go here to sketch, and I'll go say to the very first one, right here. And because it has 5 sides, then I'm gonna go over to this tool in here, the polygon, and we're gonna create one that has 5 sides. We'll create a hexagon. And so we'll choose the center in there, and I'll make that hexagon go all the way up to that point. And I'm gonna click on every side of that hexagon right here, and I'll make all of those construction geometries. Maybe I can just, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perfectly. Okay, and why am I doing that construction geometries? Is because I'll go now to the semicircle, the 3-point arch. I'll click in here, and I'll make a few arches, and it doesn't matter how big they are, because the whole point is that these arches represent the banana peels per se. So the less uniform, the better, right? It looks a little more organic that way. That's perfect. So that is one of the sides. So this process that I just did on that one, I'm gonna repeat it in each one of these planes. So now I go here to sketch. I go to plane number 1 now, this one right here, and then back to the polygon. I'll go, I'll click in here, I go all the way upwards, and I'll click in this point, and I click in that line in there, and I can make that pierce perfectly. And then I will make all of these lines right here. Let me just go away. I'm gonna make that construction geometries. And with this, I just make a bunch of semicircles. That one in there. I mean, they don't need to be, the point is that they don't need to be equal to each other. I'll walk around in a moment once I finish these peels in here. I'll do another. This is actually a pentagon, not a hexagon. I'm just correcting myself. I'm gonna add these points. The different peels. In fact, the original sketch that we drew, we are probably not gonna even use it. Like, it's just to help us draw all of these peels that we see right here. exit. Now sketch. We'll go over to this face right here. Wait. Pierce. 5. There we go. Now to go over this one. Oh, and one more right here. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna, once you reach this point, you can hide pretty much all of these planes. You don't need them anymore. So I'm gonna get rid of them, hide them, not get rid of them. And I'll do the same thing with the banana picture too. I'm gonna suppress it. And these lines, I'll hide them. That way, all I'm gonna leave are these guys. And I'm gonna save this as banana. It's funny because in this computer, when you guys are working on this, I have some other, I was working, if you guys think this is tough, let me see if I can find, I just have these guys. All right, let's see. Airport. Huh? Oh my goodness. Hopefully, once you graduate from the class, you'll be able to work on CAD projects like this one, where this is just for a project that I did for a class, actually. If you're interested in airport design at all, you can have a jetway in here. Back to the banana. So now, say you reached this point where you hide it, everything looks somewhat like this. Now you go to sketch, and in that little triangle, you press in 3D sketch. So I click in 3D sketch, and then I click on the spline tool. Again, so this is a 3D spline. So what is a 3D sketch? Essentially, it's not constrained to a particular plane. And what am I gonna do? I'm gonna join each one of these points. Oh, right there. And I click on escape. Very good. I think yes. So now once you've done that one, then you exit the so to exit a 3D spline, you click again on 3D sketch, then you click escape, and then I'm gonna draw another. So we're gonna draw 5 of these, and then I'll draw another one. Make sure that these are different sketches, otherwise the technique is not gonna work. There we go. Click then escape, and then there we go. Like that bad. All right. Now 3D sketch again. Spline. Oh, you see, I already messed up that spline in there. So I'm gonna come back to that. Yes, that's fine. I'll draw this one again. Right, perfectly. Now, in a new sketch, another 3D sketch. There we go. I click now on this point, that point, this point. And that point in there. So you see how now you're starting to visualize the wireframe of the banana. You can see how it's coming alive. And now we'll do another 3D sketch. And this is gonna go from this point, like that. And now we have yet one more left, which is gonna connect the remaining one. So I'll go here to 3D sketch, another spline, and this one is gonna go from here to there, to there, to here. And that's it. So that is your wireframe. And we'll leave it like this until you guys can try it. So now, once you're at this point, regardless of whether you're able to do these lines or not, the magic happens quite literally when you go here to features, and then you click in loft. So you click in loft right there, and then I'm gonna click in all of those wedges right here, like that. Boom. And then the magic is because, why did I draw all of those wireframes? Because then you go to guide curves, and for the guide curves, I can select, well, all of my 3D sketches, like that. And then click on OK. So there you have the SolidWorks banana. So I know that this doesn't quite get to like the level of Blender, but it's like decent in terms of like the details, right? And then if you wanna make it look even nicer, go here to sketch. I can go to that face, maybe convert entities. And I'm gonna extrude that by 1. We're not done. This is the banana. We have to do the stem, which is gonna be fun as well. Actually, for the stem, we'll need to go back to your original sketch, and I'm gonna draw a line that goes like this. I'll make that perpendicular. I'll exit, and then I create a new plane. It's gonna go in that point and that line, just like that. So now, and in fact, I'll go here to plane 8. And I'll draw a pentagon in here.
No. No. There.
And then I do another sketch in here. Here, this stuff you guys don't have to try, but I still do it for the video purposes. I'm gonna just finish this sketch in here. But what I'll do is go here to free sketch. I'm gonna convert entities that line, and I can also convert. I'm gonna convert this one too as well. And I'm gonna trim that there. I'm gonna get rid of that one too. And I click in exit. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing on this one. I'm gonna convert entities that and that. Actually, not that one. I'm gonna convert this one and oh boy, I need to make sure. Okay, so maybe I'll just do it on.
Yeah, other planes.
Let me see if I can go over to that plane here, sketch. I'll just draw a very quick spline that's gonna go from this point all the way to that line in there. Right click in exit. I'll hide this. And now it's all a matter of doing just one last loft. Go from here to there. And the guiding curves are gonna be that one and that one.
Wow. That's it.
Oh, no. The sides don't look as nice. But anyway, I'm gonna go to the sketch, do this face. I'm gonna convert that in there. And make that one. There you go. Yeah, so you don't need to reach this point, but at least with the bananas that you have, you can just right click here and color it. So I go here to loft. And I make it a. So I've done green bananas in the past. I've done yellow. I don't think I've done orange bananas yet. So this one is gonna be a orange banana ready to be thrown. And make these balls be like dark brown. I'll change that color too. Actually, I could make that loft as well, dark brown. Chocolate banana in here, and I'll save it for you guys. Because I've been meaning to do assemblies for a while. So one more time. So let's see whether I want to go to the website. Let's see, but GitHub. Okay, let's go over to the Disney page if you guys can find it. Hey, let me show you now that we're here why SolidWorks surface modeling is not very easy. So I made these guys, and it was very difficult to make them. And it's not my finest piece of art, as I like to say, but I think they look fine. I mean, you can recognize they are the green aliens. But in the same way we did the banana, it's like almost the same strategy to make those little guys. Anyways, go to the page and then go to session 4, like the session 4 folder. In here, session 4 folder, and then look for the locomotive assembly zip. So I'm gonna click in that one and I'm gonna download that file. So this is what we'll do for the last 30 minutes of today. So website, session 4, locomotive assembly
Zip.
.zip, and download that folder. And then go to whatever downloads folder you have,
Zip.
and then extract. In here. And once you've extracted this, you can just click in locomotive assembly. Just open whatever. Reveal. So hopefully this is what you're gonna get. But if you reach this point, to create an exploit view, you have to click on this tab right here. Over there, the configuration manager. And then you go to where it says default, right click in there, and you say new exploded view. And then for the exploded view, I'm just gonna select all of the different parts. Sorry, for instance, these ones. I'm gonna bring that to the side like that, and I say done. And then I can move, I can say done in there. I can say done. I can move that as well here. I'm gonna come around and I'll do the exact same thing. Done,
This is the one.
done. Done in there. I'll move that one a little bit more since we're here. What other parts do we have? I think all of the wheels are a single part. So I'm gonna move that downwards.
Do that.
Then I click on done. Then I click again on this. I'll say done. Select these two at the same time. I click on done. And that one done like that. And I think this is it. This assembly doesn't have a ton of parts, as you can see. But we're gonna make a drawing out of that. So I'll let you guys get to this point. I think. So obviously this is like the central piece over there. Actually, I could move, I'm gonna move these guys downwards, done. I click in done. Excellent. Perfect. So now we go to where it says file and then make drawing from assembly. So I'll click in that one right there. And where it gives you an option to select like different things. I'll go to A4 as an example. Actually, I can browse. There's like different ones.
Browse.
That one I can, I'll do A4 landscape. That's what I want. I click on open. And then I go to okay.
No.
Okay, so we have a bunch of things that show up in here. And then the first thing I'm gonna do is here where it says there's a tab that's called isometric exploded. I'm just gonna drag this in here. And that's exactly, I believe it's the same view of the drawing that we had. So I can go over here. I'll just, yes, you just select that. And then where it says use custom scale, you can put, let's see, 10. It's actually, let's see, 6. Yeah, 6 looks about fine. I'll click on OK. Actually, if you go back here where it says the colors, instead of having that white one, I can go to this one and that way you can see it all colorful. Then I'm gonna right click in here and there's a tab that's called edit sheet format. So you click in there and I'm gonna get rid of all of these lines. Actually, I can just drag the line in here, delete, delete, delete.
Here you go. And now it's getting rid of all of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna call this explosion. Oi. There we go. Oh no, actually drawing time, I'll call it session 5, and then on title, yes, exploded. Yeah. Now yes, and now yes, I'll just get rid of all of these unnecessary lines. You can drag this one all in here, delete, all that right there. Okay, I get rid of that as well. Perfect. All right, so now, yeah, so this is the bare minimum, but the point is that now I'll right click again and go to where it says edit sheet. So we exit this mode. And now we're left with a clean area like this. So I'll leave our drawing like that. Okay, so one last thing that I just figured out last second is that if you go to SolidWorks in here and say you're happy with this view, or you want, say you want this view to be on the assembly, something like that. I'm just rotating it in there. Then you click on the spacebar, and then these guys appear up here, where it says view orientation. And then in view orientation, there's this little telescope of sorts. You click in there, which says new named view, and you can call it, I don't know, isometric 2. You click on OK. And the reason why that's important is because if we go over to the drawing and you click in, like in here in the space, I can change the view. So that way it looks a little bit tidier. I'm going to use the first one that I created, and I'll save it like that. And then the very last step is once you reach this point, then you go over to annotation and then to balloon. And I'm going to start adding a balloon to all of these parts. So for instance, I can add a balloon in here. Yes, actually, I'll add it like this. I wonder whether this one is going to be the same number. Yes, that's a 6 perfectly. 4, 5. There we go. You can obviously make it tidier than this, but this is just like a rough way for doing it. If you don't like the position, you can drag. There we go, like that. And the whole point is that we've all, actually, if I click in here again, also move this around. The whole point is that then you go over to, in annotation, to tables, and I can put either bill of materials. I think it automatically generates. Let's see what happens if I go for bill of materials. I'll say, okay. Well, that's pretty good. It generates like automatically, all of the different parts. You can also do what I'm gonna do, which is creating this manually. Where I'm gonna, all right, I want 3 columns. And I want, so it's 6 parts, I want 7 rows. I'm gonna put it right here. Yes, I think that's fine. Let me see if I can move this upwards. And I'm gonna call this part number. Then I call it name. And then I call this quantity. Like I said, I want part number 1, 2. So it's not terribly simple to draw the input numbers into the table, but it's fine. I go 5, 6, and then so right, part 1 is the locomotive, so I'll call it locomotive body. Then part 2 is wheels front. Then part 3 is wheels back. And then 4 through 5 are just linkages. So I'll call these linkage 1, linkage 2, and linkage 3. And then as for quantities, I'm just counting. So I think everything but the locomotive is duplicated. So I'm gonna put 1 in here and then a 2 pretty much everywhere else. There we go. And then I can move this right there. And I'm gonna move these parts like this. Very good, perfectly. Yeah, so you have something like this, and then you can say, all right, just move it. Let me see if there's other things that I can show. And I think this is fine, but you can add notes. For instance, I can add a note in here saying, note for specific dimensions, please open file. Something like that, something very simple. I can just draw. Leave it like there. In fact, I think it even allows us, I can bold that if I'm not mistaken. There. So it's a very simple drawing, but at least kind of useful if you want to make an exploded view and show how all of these different parts. I'll actually add another one that says for assembly instructions, please open explode in file. Explode view. There we go. Actually, one last thing is that this is technically scale 1 to 6, but it didn't update in there. So I'll right click again, go to edit view. Actually, this is occupying everything here. Edit sheet format. And right over there, I'm just gonna type 1, 6. Oh, and I'm gonna edit sheet again. And once you're happy with this, you can save this as a PDF. So you go here to File, Save As, and in Save As option, you can do PDF. You can go to Downloads, whatever it may be. And then let's see how this looks like. It looks quite decent, like, colorful. Yeah. Right, this is it. I'll stop the recording now.